Hi guys, Michelle here at Serendipity.House in New Hampshire. Check out the Fairy House Terrarium I just finished with the Iron Orchid Designs Toadstool Mold. This mold is so incredibly detailed and fun, filled with all sorts of mushrooms to make your woodland themed projects. You can find all the products that I used with links to purchase these right on my website, Serendipity.House. I hope you have as much fun watching the process as I did in creating this. Thanks so much for watching. I found this cool old wood dollhouse at my local thrift store. And I'm all inspired to use my Toadstool Mold by Iron Orchid Designs. Dust the mold with some cornstarch so that your air dry clay doesn't stick, and start working your clay right into the mold. I'm using a putty knife to get the extra clay off. The micro rim on the IOD molds will help you get a nice flat back on your casting. As soon as you're finished, gently bend the mold to remove your clay pieces. I popped mine into the freezer so they wouldn't dry out while I was creating more castings. Now it's time to come up with a design on my house. Remember, these are frozen, so they're moving around easily. I'm using Titebond quick and thick glue to adhere these, and making sure once they soften up from the freezer that I press them down firmly so they get a nice secure bond to my wood. Use an old paintbrush to clean up the extra glue. To add some dimension to the roof, I'm using Pentar structure paste, which you can find on my website, Serendipity.House. Of course, our fairy house is going to need a pretty interior, so we're applying an Iron Orchid Design Rose Chintz paint inlay with DIY paint. After your first coat of paint has dried, apply a second coat. Place the paint inlay face down into your wet paint. You'll find some detailed tutorials all about the IOD paint inlays right here on my YouTube channel. The inlays were in for about 10 minutes. I dampened with a light spray of water, pulled them off, and it's like magic. After everything dries, spray the whole house in and out with a clear top coat. Now it's time to have some fun with your paint. I'm using my DIY paint for this. I let it dry between layers and went back to do some blending and some layering of the colors. This is DIY Paint Letterpress Gray. I'm using it in a stippling motion to paint my house. Next up, I am using Pentar Moss and Grass Effects for the roof. Work in small sections, and when you hit it with your heat gun, you're going to notice the fibers puff up. It is a fabulous effect and looks really, really cool on this house. Here's the part I knew someday would pay off. When I take walks outside, I always fill my pockets with acorns, sticks with lichen. I grab birch and moss and collect it just for a project like this. I put some foil down to protect the base of my house, and I'm just going to start layering all of these elements. I also took some of my house plants, planted them in some small peat pots, and we're going to tuck the plants in as we go along. I grabbed this little ironstone dish because as I was building, I felt it needed one larger focal point so it looked more cohesive. I am so happy with how this came out. I brought it outside for a photo shoot even though it was 24 degrees and windy because the natural light just really shows off all the elements of this beautiful toadstool mold. Look at the detail in this. I love it. Quite honestly, I have a lot more ideas about what I can add and take away and change to this, but ultimately I just had to get the project done. I think I'm going to add some frozen Charlottes and maybe some other antiquities to this and enjoy it for a while before I change it up. And don't ever let anyone tell you that it's weird to fill your pockets with nature when you're out on a walk.